Well, good morning, students. I am again back with my new video. So, in this video, we will talk about partial molar properties. And this property is very new to all because I think you all have not gone through this. So, I'll give an introduction of this. So, whatever thermodynamics till date you have learned, it is based on closed system. Okay, so when we talk about an open system, we consider partial molar properties. I will explain you in detail how thermodynamic properties like internal energy, enthalpy, entropy, or work function, or Gibbs free energy, whatever you have learned, this all comes under what? Extensive properties. Okay, why they comes under extensive properties? Because their value changes with mass of the system. Okay, and particularly we use these properties for a closed system. Okay, now suppose your system is an open system. So when it is an open system, that means there is a possibility of exchange of mass also. Okay, so what we can do, we can try to keep two or three things uh, common for a system, but at the same time we have to consider that there is a change in number of moles of that particular components of which a system is made up of. So let us see, in case of an open system containing two or more components, okay, there can be change in number of moles as I have told you. So in that case, extensive properties, whatever the extensive properties may be H or maybe G or something, suppose that property is X. Okay, so it must be a function of not only to temperature, at a particular temperature in which the system is, or the pressure, or whatever things you are considering here, but also on the number of moles of components. Okay, suppose your system is made up of only one component, that is A, then you will consider only mole fraction of A. Suppose it is made up of two components B, then you will consider one component as A and another component as B. Okay, now let us understand it thoroughly. Suppose for a system, let T and P be the temperature and pressure, okay, and their respective number of moles for the constituents N1, N2, N3 to Nj, okay, and the number of constituent is 1, 2, 3 to J. That means for the constituent 1, number of mole is N1, for constituent 2, number of mole is N2, for 3 respectively N3, and for J it is Nj. Okay, then property X must be a function of this all three constituents. Okay, so how we can write it mathematically? We can write it like X is equals to function of temperature, pressure and number of moles of all the constituent. Okay, if we take all the constituent, then if we take sum of all the constituent, then N1 plus N2 plus N3 plus dash dash dash, I mean whatever number of component is there, plus Nj, then it will become as the total number of moles. So total number of mole can be designated through capital N. Okay, if we suppose that there is a small change in temperature, pressure and number of moles of the components, then change in the property can be denoted by dx and will be given as this. Here dx is equals to, suppose first we have changed the system with respect to t, so what you can write, dx by dt, and when pressure and number of mole is constant, then again when you are changing with respect to pressure and temperature and number of mole is constant, then dx by dp, del x by del p, and Tn is this shows that these two terms are constant and change is because of change in pressure. Okay, similarly again we have to take all the number of moles. So here I am explaining it for one component, dx is equals to dn1, and again you can see these two things are common and we have taken it up to this. So similarly you can write it for dnj property. If you the quantity dx by dni, okay, is like that, where j is not is equals to I, because if all the component will be similar you will not get the proper value. So we suppose that. So this whole property is called as partial molar property and is generally denoted by x bar I, okay. Now let us have a deep look into the partial molar quantity. As I have told you, when you are considering anything for an open system and you are considering number of moles, so it can be considered as partial molar quantity. Suppose you are considering internal energy. So when internal energy is considered for an open system, you are considering number of moles, then it will be converted into partial molar internal energy, and it will be denoted by how? U bar I, okay, and the value of U bar I will be equal to del U by del Ni when temperature pressure is constant and N1, N2, N2, I mean you are considering the total number of components. Similarly, partial molar enthalpy, it will be designated as del H, H bar I. Again, partial molar enthalpy, entropy, partial molar entropy is defined as S bar I, and partial molar volume is V bar I. So I think now this topic is understandable to you. Again we will come to a very important topic, and this topic is chemical potential, okay. So as you all know, you have considered partial molar quantities. So when you consider Gibbs free energy as partial molar quantity, it becomes chemical potential, okay. So I'll explain you. Partial molar free energy is designated as chemical potential, or it is also denoted by mu I, okay. When you are writing it as partial molar Gibbs free energy, then you will denote it as G bar I or mu I, okay. For an infinitesimal free energy change, what we can write? We can write as this thing I have told you before when I was explaining you partial molar quantity. So we can write it like dg is equals to del g by del t when p and n is constant, and you are just differentiating in terms of dt in terms of temperature. Again, when you are considering the change in terms of pressure, and these two terms are constant, when you have taken mu1 and dn, that means it is with respect to one constituent. Again, it is with respect to second constituent. So you will take it as whole. Now what are the terms are? Mu1, mu2 and mu-j are the chemical potentials of different components. Mu1 is for one component, mu2 is for second component, j is for j component. Now if the temperature and pressure remains constant, then if it is constant, then this term and this term will be 0 and you will get only this term, okay. So that is how we got equation 3, okay. Now if a system has a definite composition like N1, N2, and I mean these are the number of moles for constituent this and this. So if you will integrate this above equation, you will get what? G, when these all are constant, I mean this is defined, these are constant, these two terms are constant and it is defined, then we will have N1 mu1 plus N2 mu2 plus and so on, whatever terms you have. Now from the above equation of chemical potential, we can define the contribution per mole of each particular constituent of mixture to the total free energy of the system under what? Constant temperature and pressure, okay. So when it is constant, under constant temperature and pressure, so you will get this, and if your constituent is only one, then G will be equal to mu. So this was all about chemical potential. I will explain you further in my next video. If you have any problem, you can discuss with me. Thank you.